Today I found another tutorial about using client-side local storage on YouTube, and it's from lynda.com, lynda.com. And again, it's titled How to Use Client-Side Local Storage. And it's only 9 minutes and 23 seconds long, so it's a nice quickie. Let me move out of here. I'm just going to go over the code and then show you how it persists data in 3 popular browsers even after you leave the browser and come back. Here we got HTML tag, head tag, title tag, DOM local storage example, meta name equals viewport content equals width, device width, and then we have a script tag. So we don't have any external tags at all in this. Everything that you need to make this work is inside of the one single HTML file that I called storage.html. So in the head here, we've got a script tag. Here's the ending script tag, and here's the beginning. We've got a few functions. The first function is function initialize, and the note says test for storage API support, similar to using Modernizer to test for the same thing. So the first statement in this function is var, and again, I took this entire code from lynda.com, and it's a very good tutorial if you want to look at that instead of looking at this one. Var B supports local equals local storage in window, and window local storage does not equal null. If local storage is not supported, then bail out of the demo. If not B supports local, then document.getElement by ID info form dot entered HTML equals, then you've got in double quotes the p tags for paragraph and the string inside, sorry, this browser does not support the W3C storage API. Then return. So that little if condition is letting us bail out of the demo if our browser does not support local storage. The next little snip right here, this little comment says if local storage has some content, then restore it. So that goes from, if this is true, if this condition is true, then we're going to do everything in these curly braces right here from there to there. And then this curly brace right here ends this entire initialize function. Anyhow, if window.localStorage.length does not equal 0, then the 3 things we're going to do with this particular demo is document.getElement by ID, first name dot value equals window.localStorage.getItem first name. So when we get to the body, right now we're looking at the scripts in the head, but when we get to the body, you're going to see what body elements have these names, info form and first name and last name and postcode. But right now we're referring to the names of those particular elements that I haven't showed you yet. But anyway, so we're going to get information from those 3 particular elements. The next one was document.getElement by ID last name value equals window.localStorage.getItem last name. And the third one is document.getElement by ID postcode value equals window.localStorage.getItem postcode. Okay, so that was our entire initialize function right there. The next thing we've got right here is function store local content. Another thing too, when we have buttons, we may see a button call function initialize, or we may see a button call store local content, or we may see a button that calls clear local content. So remember that when I get to the body of those and show those elements. Okay, so the first little tidbit here, function store local content. Inside the parentheses, we are putting the parameters fname, comma lname, comma p code. So you know what we're talking about here, the first name, last name, and p code, postal code. And that function's curly braces also has 3 statements. Window.localStorage.setItem. Notice up here we were using the get item for local storage, localStorage.getItem. Here we're using the localStorage.setItem. And we are going to, we have first name in single quotes, comma, F name. So you see those aliases are being used. We're setting one alias to the, one variable to the other. The next line of code says the same thing, but we're talking about a different element. Window.localstorage.setItem last name in single quotes, comma L name. And then lastly, we have window.localstorage.setItem postcode in single quotes, comma P code. Okay, lastly, we have function clear local content, and then we have in parentheses here an abbreviation for string to store. Inside the meat of those curly braces, we use window.localstorage.clear. So local storage, we've used get item. Local storage, we've used set item. Local storage, we've used clear. And then down here, we are saying window.onload equals initialize. So when this window is loading, we are calling this initialize that goes from here to there. Okay, and that's the end of the script in the head. Now let's get to the body. I'm going to pull one of these browsers up so that I can show you what the body elements look like while we look at the code at the same time. All right. Move this up a little. First thing we've got is an H1 tag, which is our header, and inside we have the words using DOM local storage. That's what you see right here when we open this in the browser, using DOM local storage. Then we have a div, and this right here is what's in that div, this little paragraph. But we're actually not using a paragraph tag, but this information is inside of there, and it says the, and then this is a link, so that's how you make a link tag, aref equals http://www.w3.org/tr/web storage. And you see in blue here with the underline, there is a link. So if you click on this, it will take you to that section. Now, I would like to go inside of that tag and hit target equals underscore blank. That way, when the user clicks on this link, instead of this web page covering this up, it will open up in a new tab. That's what target equals underscore blank does for us. And then inside this tag and this tag is the set of words that you see that you actually click on. W3C Web Storage API, W3C Web Storage API. And then the rest of this in that div says provides two new ways of storing information on the client side, the session storage and local storage. Use the local storage feature to save information in the browser instead of cookies. So I don't know if you can really tell because this is kind of small, but when we use the tags code before and after session storage and before and after local storage, it kind of changes the font just a little bit. It kind of sets it apart, kind of like if I had a bold tag or used a tag that I created it with CSS to maybe highlight it red or a different color. So there's the end of that div, and here's an H2, which is another header tag, H1 being the largest size, H2 being a size smaller, and you can tell that this first H1 tag is in fact larger than the H2. And then we have paragraph tags. In the next paragraph we have the words try entering information in the form, then closing and reopening the browser. And that's what you get right here in this little small snippet. Then we have another div right here in which we are creating a form. So in this div that goes from this purple tag all the way to here, and then you've got end body and HTML, so that's the completion of the web page. But let me highlight that again. We have a tag, a form tag. Form action equals, and then nothing in double quotes, method equals post, ID equals info form. Remember when I told you earlier when I was talking about the functions in the head, we would start to see the elements here in the body with IDs, names. This ID is info form. So if we go back up here to the code, you see it in the function initialize. In the initialize function, we are actually document.getElement by ID info form. We're getting that information from this form that we gave the ID of info form. Okay, let me go back. Now we have a field set, and the field set is this little box that actually kind of contains the information here. So field set name equals local storage, ID equals LS. Let's see, do we have LS showing up here anywhere? Highlighted there? No, we don't. What about the name local storage? Do we have that highlighted? Oh, in the function clear local content, we use local storage. We also use it in store local content, fname, lname, and pcode. It's everywhere, actually. Local storage is everywhere. Let's see. Then we have a legend that says personal information, and that is showing right here. It's kind of like a caption, if you will, or a title to the field set. Then we have paragraph tag here, and inside the paragraph tag we have a label with an ID of FN label for first name, and then you actually see the text first name right there, and then the end of the label. That is what's giving us what you see right here. The next thing we have is a text box, which is what you see right next to it. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Input ID equals first name, name equals first name. So notice when we create a label for the keywords for equals first name, and then we have a text area with an ID of first name, the label for and the ID must be spelled exactly the same so that it lines it up nice. Okay, so input ID equals first name, name equals first name, end of that text box, and end of the p tag. And we do the exact same thing for the last name, label, and text box. We have it inside of a p tag. Label ID equals ln label for last name. Then you see the words, you literally see the words last name, and then the end of label. Then input ID equals last name, name equals last name, end of p tag. And lastly, we have the third right here, this whole section, P label ID equals PC label for postcode, and you see the words postcode right here, end of label, and then input ID equals postcode, name equals postcode, the end of the paragraph. Next we have a couple of buttons down here, save button and clear button. So here is our first button. If I put that there, then they'll highlight. Okay. So from the purple to the purple and everything highlighted yellow in the middle, that's our save button. So I'll read everything about our save button. Input type equals button, value equals save. Value is what you actually see on the face of the button. On click equals store local content. Now store local content is a function that we created inside of the head. There it is, store local content. Now in this function, it has three parameters, fname, lname, and pcode. So when you call the function, you have to have arguments to these parameters. So we have to put something, three different things that represent fname, lname, and pcode. When that's exactly what we see right here. We have store local content, and here are the three things that we're doing. The document.query selector, and then in single quotes, pound first name dot value, comma. So there's the first argument to the first parameter, and everything is separated by commas. The second argument to the second parameter is this document.query selector, and in single quotes in parentheses, pound last name dot value, comma, and then this is the argument to the third parameter of that document.query selector, and in parentheses and single quotes, pound postcode dot value. Okay, so then we should close that input button tag right there. And lastly, we have the clear button right here. Input type equals button, value equals clear, and on click we call the clear local content function. This function did not have anything in the parentheses, so if we double check the clear local content again, go up here, actually clear local content, it says str to store, string to store, and the meat of the curly braces is just window.localstorage.clear. So I guess we didn't have to answer that parameter because we didn't have anything put in this one. It's just actually just calling the function. Then there's the end of the field set, the end of the form, the end of the div, the end of the body, the end of the HTML. That's all the code you get. So now let me move the code out of the way, and I'm going to open up each of these three browsers. The first one you see is Firefox. The next one is, I'll put it over here all the way to the right. This is Chrome, and then I'll put Opera in the center. Okay, so we have Firefox, Opera, and Chrome. Whoops, messed that up. Okay. Notice that each of these has saved a different set of information. That's because when we use local storage is going to save information to a specific browser. It's not going to save information and every browser is going to save the same information. So here in this browser I saved my name and the postal code. Here in this middle browser I saved something totally different, Bugs Bunny, and a made-up 6-digit postal code. And then in Chrome, Barry Manilow, and I'm pretty sure I spelled that wrong, and another made-up zip code. So I'm going to close out of all three of these browsers, and I'm going to open them up again, and you're going to see that each individual browser is going to save its individual information even after closing the browser. If I can close this. I don't know, Opera's giving me a hard time to close. Alright, here's my, what's this? Oh, that's just my YouTube videos. Here's my code that I went over in Notepad++. Let me launch it in Firefox. And that one, if I'm not mistaken, held my name and my current zip code, which is going to change pretty soon. It's taken a while, it's thinking. And there we go, there I am. Alright, so Firefox held onto that information. Now let's open it in Chrome. Whoops. Let's open it in Chrome now. And that one I think was my misspelled Barry Manilow. And it is, with my made-up zip code. Okay, and lastly, in order for me to open this up in Opera, I have to manually open Opera because I haven't figured out how to set Opera to my Notepad++ so that I could just hit run and then choose Opera from this command selection. I have to physically open it. And actually this might have saved, if I have Opera configuration set to save last page that it was on, it might already open up, and it did. It looks like it did anyway, I'm not sure. Loading. Or maybe it didn't. Let's see, run in Firefox, because then I'll have to copy and paste the address bar into Opera if it's not going to save where I left off. Yeah, it looks like it's opening up in Google. Just want it to open in either of the two, just so I can get that address. That's all I want is the address. Okay, copy, move this out of the way, put it in Opera's address bar, paste and go. Oh. I don't know why it's not pasting. Copy, paste. It's not pasting. Wow, this is aggravating. What the heck? Let's try another tab. That first tab was insistent on opening in Google, opening google.com. Wow, this is incredible. Oh, that's ridiculous. Come on, Opera. This is ticking me off. I know it's going to work. I just don't know why it's stuck. There we go. Wow, finally. Bugs Bunny 123 123. All right, so I just proved to you again with a different demo that I found online how you can use local storage to save persistent data on a web page. So you can make an app, whatever kind of app you want, that you can make an address book or whatever, and you could save your information, and then every time you open up that web page, you're going to be able to access it.